Rutina, I'm going to start with you. What do we think childbirth was like for Maria post mushroom pandemic?
Yeah. I think she got through it. Maria's a soldier. I think she was fine. I'm not gonna say that she wasn't. I think she was fine.
But that baby had to be like 13
Yeah.
pounds. Have you seen
Yeah,
Ezra?
Ezra's huge. Yeah, she did it naturally. I think she didn't have a choice really. So I think it was fine for her. And she's done it before too. So usually they say
True.
like your second child is a little bit different. So
How do we think Tommy, Gabriel, how do we think Tommy fared that day?
Whoa, are you kidding me? I was, yes. I met my match. I met my limits that day, I think. I think he's to sacrifice kind of, the kid in him because there still is a lot of play and the freewheeling Tommy can't do that anymore, man. Things change.
Mhm.
And I think that was kind of the he had to kind of bury some things in himself and very willingly because I think that this is we see in the first season he's anticipating this with a lot of joy and a lot of great expectations and this opportunity to do it right, while Sarah wasn't his child, but Sarah was very important to
Right.
Tom, as we can kind of see. We keep vigil. We have this thing in our house of both Sarah and Maria's son.
Mhm.
So yeah, that was a tough day, man. In my mind.
You mentioned the first season, there's that fight that Tommy and Joel have in the bar where Joel says some really mean things about Tommy being a dad. How much do you think that's kind of in the back of his head in the intervening years?
That meeting is 6 or 7 years in the making. So there was a lot there that I don't know. He's missed so much of my life. So in that moment, it's
Yeah.
just more like it's just us immediately having knee-jerk reactions that are based off of our last encounters, which weren't good. We parted ways for a reason, and there was a darkness, there was a pit that he was falling into that I couldn't follow. So yeah, that moment was tough. But in these 5 years, I think you've seen us grow together and kind of return to a lot of perhaps what we were before this all happened, before these monsters came into the world. And
Mhm.
and um and I love the scenes in the first episode, the way he is with our son, how loving he is. And I know that there's so much that my son can learn from my brother Joel. I feel a sense of healing for him that makes me that puts my heart at ease.
Mhm.
Uh, and same time, he's dealing with all of this other stuff with Ellie that you see him embrace Dina, you see him embrace Benjamin, you know, because he has all this love to give, and the one person that he wants to pour all his love into can't forgive him at this point. And I am burdened with the task of trying to help bring them back together.
We see Maria and Joel have, I won't say it's a warm interaction, but it's not, maybe not as edgy as we've seen them in the past in the first episode. Talk to me about what she's thinking about her brother-in-law at this point in time after the 5 year jump.
yeah, I think she's welcomed him into the family in a way that's like, family doesn't always get along, but they'll tolerate each other. So I think she tolerates Joel in a way, but also Joel is really been a big help as far as navigating the
Right.
refugees that we're getting and just sort of helping with the amount of, the numbers that we're getting and helping us
Mhm.
resources and different things. So I think they're getting along kind of just fine, which is kind of odd to me when I was just kind of like, huh, they're in a different place. She's not she's like she's actually has a conversation with him instead of like cutting him off or whatever.
Mhm.
So I
Mhm.
kind of like that. I like that we can that I like that we're seeing these different sides of these characters. It's kind of cool to see that just it's cool to stray away from like the norm. So I think
Yeah.
it's nice for people to have that.
In the first episode, we see some of the younger members of the community have a slightly more cavalier attitude toward the threat that exists outside the walls, right? And I'm wondering at this point in time, what is their biggest fear? Is it still infected getting in? Is it not having enough room for everyone that needs to be there? What's most on their minds, kind of, and how might that have changed in the intervening years?
I think it's both of those
Yeah. Well, I
things.
think it's losing our son,
Yeah.
and that's
Mm.
going to be the driving force behind everything else. He's never seen a monster. He knows about them. We tell him stories, or his uncle tells him stories, and I'm okay with that because you gotta know that there are monsters at the door. But there are children in Jackson that have never seen one,
Right.
and that's our greatest accomplishment. That's what we're hoping for. It's just you have to remain vigilant, and that's the only way that the dream is that none of them never will encounter this. And I think that's a metaphor for so many so many problems in the world that we try to shield our loved ones from. So yeah. Yeah.